Hey everybody, how is it going today? Well, I haven't done a TSNP video in a few days, and there's been some very interesting price action lately, so I want to go over that and tell you what I think the next move could be in the stock. And then, as always, I have some other very nice looking chart patterns that could be setting up for some decent looking trades, so I'm going to go over those as well. Now, if you're new to my channel, I like to find short-term and long-term trading opportunities in typically lower-priced stocks. Not only will I talk about the featured stock in the video, but I also try to present at least a couple other nice-looking tradable opportunities that are happening currently in the market. So if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss any future trading ideas. But please remember, I am not a financial advisor, so please do all of your own research before buying any of these stocks. Well, I looked around to see if there was any significant news on Tesoro Enterprises, and this one was out today, but I think this is just all old news. It just talks about the impressive run that TSNP has had, and it said it's up 3,400% since November. But then if you scroll down a little bit, it says, in addition to that, the company also announced at the time it's going to raise capital through the sale of warrants, and once the warrants are actually exercised, the company is going to get a hold of $50 million in the form of equity funding. And it says investors need to remember that the shares that will be acquired through the exercise of the warrants cannot be sold in the retail market for a year since the date of purchasing the warrants. But I believe that is old news. I think I remember reading that before. So let's actually, let's just get right into the charts. All right, we're going to start off with the daily chart of TSNP, and we can see today that it is pulling back a little bit. Had that huge gap up yesterday and then the big run, so it was very extended past this 8-period exponential moving average, so it was just ripe for a pullback. And today's price action isn't too bad, but if we zoom in a little bit closer, we can see that we had the gap up early in their day and then it immediately sold off. You know, this is lovingly referred to as the gap and crap. If you're into candlestick patterns, here is an instance where it did it earlier. Has an extended move, and then it gaps up early in the day only to sell off. And this is usually a pretty good reversal signal. So I would expect some more downward price action if this candle stays the same. Now, what's important, because this is an intraday chart here, is when you're trading chart patterns, you have to wait for the day to complete for that signal to be valid. Just because you know, it starts making a certain candle. You know, that was one thing I used to do when I was younger. I would jump in a little early when I saw like a significant looking chart pattern. I'd probably jump in earlier in the day, but then by the end of the day, either it would, you know, reverse the other way, or it would just, you know, do something different that would negate that chart pattern. So you kind of have to be patient and do most of your trades at the end of the day if you are going to be trading on these type of chart patterns, because you have to wait till that piece of data is complete in order for it to be a valid signal. But as of right now, it looks like it's forming a gap and crap. You know, like I said, this could change by the end of the day, but I would expect if this pattern holds there to be a little bit more downside, at least coming down to this support area, maybe down to the 8-period exponential moving average. But you know, this candle isn't terribly concerning. It's just something natural that's in the price action, and as you can see, the volume so far isn't overwhelming. So I mean, it doesn't look like everybody's rushing for the exit at the moment. But let's go intraday real quick and take another look at the current price action. All right, so when I go to the 15-minute chart, you can see we are getting, you can see it's very extended at the moment. The trend has accelerated and it's starting to go a little parabolic, so you would expect a pullback, but just had a very nice rounding bottom until it started to make the next move up. And if we zoom in a little bit closer here, you can see it does what it always does. TSNP, it just amazes me how predictable it is on intraday. Usually goes up, comes back, and a test right around the exact support area on the gap up, just like it did the day before. just like it did the day before that, and pretty much the day before that day was a little bit lower. But you can see that it gets into this pattern quite a bit. So if you are into day trading these lower price stocks, this is one you could definitely use until it stops working. Once something starts working, you can just stick with it until it stops. You might be able to ride it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a row before that pattern finally gets negated. But TSNP still looks pretty strong from a technical level. You can see how nice it starts leveling up. It's still very possible it could go higher tomorrow. But if this candle, let me go back to the daily. I would say if this candle stays the same way that it is, we're probably going to get something similar to this move that we had, where it just kind of faded down and had to work into another consolidation, had to digest the current price gains. But TSNP has been a rocket ship, so you never know. I mean, this thing could absolutely explode higher. But from a technical perspective, I think we probably got a little bit more downside before it heads back up. But let's get into some of the other charts I wanted to talk about. All right, well, the first one I want to talk about is Solo. I actually took a position in this one today. I got in at $8.36, so it's still hanging right around where I purchased at, so there's really nothing going on as of yet. But this stock is starting to make a very bullish rounded bottom, and it's starting to put pressure on this resistance area that I have drawn on the chart. And I'm starting to notice this pattern in a lot of the other EV type plays, like in IDEX. It was in FUV before FUV took off. CABT, a lot of the stocks that are kind of associated with the EV sector, they're starting to make this very similar pattern. They're under accumulation, and the meaning or the reason why they could be doing that is because Tesla is coming out with their earnings real soon, and I think a lot of people are anticipating that Tesla is going to blow away those numbers, and that should have a positive effect on all of these stocks. And I think a lot of people are starting to build up their position, and that's why you're seeing these beautiful accumulation formations starting in those EV plays. But let's go intraday and take a closer look at what's been going on. If I zoom out just a tad, you can see how the lows are starting to rise and put a lot of pressure on this resistance area that I have drawn right about 920 to 880. This is looks like it could be a pretty stiff resistance area, but if Tesla comes out and blows away those numbers, I mean, there's a strong possibility Solo gaps over this resistance and starts a pretty good run. If we zoom in just a little bit closer, we can see all these big green bars. That means this stock has been under accumulation, and that's pretty easy to see when you look at the chart pattern, but it's really nice when you see those big green bars underneath it showing how strong the accumulation has been. But I'm going to put my stop loss right under $7, and I'm going to put it at $7.19. I'm going to give this one a little bit more room to run. That's why I took a little bit of a smaller position in this one. I like to give them a wide berth to move around a little bit, because with these lower price stocks, they can fluctuate quite a bit, and I don't want to be whipsawed out just to have the stock go higher right afterwards. But I think Solo has a outstanding chance of breaking above this resistance area, and I would expect it to run at least up to probably like the 1050 area. I would imagine it should be able to hit that area pretty easily if it does get going past this resistance area. So that's going to be my first target, right around 1050 to 1055, and I'm going to put my excuse me, I'm going to put my stop loss at 719. But I think this is a very nice chart pattern that's setting up for a good possible trade. But let's get over to the next one. All right, the next one I want to talk about is T2 Biosystems Incorporated, ticker symbol TTOO, and I actually bought this one this morning as well. You can see it has this beautiful pattern that I love to see. You got that first breakout, and then it starts to hold that 8-period exponential moving average, and then starts to move higher. That's when I absolutely love to buy these stocks. I bought this one in the first few minutes of the day at $2.14. It undercut where I bought it, but is now starting to rally, so it is breaking out to a new high. So very optimistic that TTOO is certainly going to be moving higher from here. Let's go to the intraday chart really quick here. Let's go to the 5-minute chart and just show you why I bought it and how I bought it. The stock was starting to run up, so I wanted to buy it on a little bit of a pullback. So I looked to buy it once it came back to the previous day's support right around 214. It moved up for just a few minutes, but then it undercut it, and it came all the way back down to about $2.04 before it started to catch a bid, and you can see all this volume starting to pour into it. One of the 5-minute bars had over 4 million shares in it all by itself, so a lot of volume is pulling into this one. As we can see, it's starting to pull back to this 8-period exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart, so it might be starting another leg up soon. This is intraday, so who knows where the stock is going to end, but it's looking very bullish right now. Let me go back to the daily chart and I'll show you what I am thinking as far as risk and reward. I put my stop loss at $1.74. So I'm going to risk down to $1.74, and if I zoom out a little bit, I think this could easily make it to about $3.05. So that's what I'm looking for on a target right around this area. So my risk reward is a little bit more than double. So it's a very nice looking chart, tradable chart. Certainly, I think it could easily get to 307 the way some of these stocks are moving, and pulling all the way down to 174 is going to take out a lot of support areas. So, I mean, if it does get down to 174, it's going to be a total failure of this chart pattern. Then I know I can just move on to the next trade. But I think TTOO is looking super good at the moment because it's just starting. It looks like it's just starting its breakout. But let's get to the next one. All right, well, the next two I want to show you, I'm going to go over really quick. Number one, because they look very similar, and number two, I just don't want the video to drag on too long and take up too much of your guys' time. But this first one is INUV, and I talked about this one a couple of videos ago, and it had the volume pouring into this stock as it's had its huge move up. But right now, we can see that it is forming a very nice looking bullish pennant, maybe a bullish flag if it drifts a little bit more, but either way, those are very bullish patterns, and the 8-period exponential moving average is catching up. So if this thing can continue to move sideways until this moving average catches up, there is a strong possibility that we're going to get another swing up in INUV because it's just making a absolutely beautiful technical pattern. Let's go intraday real quick and take a little bit closer look at the recent consolidation. And if we go intraday, you can see this is just picture perfect. It pulled back a little bit from the all-time high that it made, and it's been digesting those gains very nicely. It's going perfectly sideways. There hasn't been a ton of volume coming in, so there's really no sellers that are coming into it in a big way, and that's exactly what you want to see if you forming a nice foundation for that next leg up. So INUV still looks super strong, and this is one we should definitely keep on our watch list for the next couple of days or so, because if this thing can hang tough until this moving average catches up, it just has a absolutely picture perfect setup for the next move up. All right, let's get into the next one, and that is going to be STCN. This is Steel Connect Incorporated. You can see this pattern also very similar. If I back out just a little bit, you can see we have a nice consolidation going back almost a year, and now it's starting its move up. Huge volume poured in just a few days ago, up over 25 million shares in one day alone, and it is starting to form a little bit of a bullish flag, and it is approaching this 8-period exponential moving average. So this pattern is very similar. It's also looking super bullish, so this one could be easily setting up for the next swing up. Let's go intraday really quick on this one. As you can see, this one even looks a little bit stronger as the consolidation is forming even closer to the highs. It's starting to drift a little bit. As long as it holds this support area, I think It has a absolutely outstanding chance of making that next swing up. And just because it breaks that support area doesn't necessarily mean the pattern is shot, especially if it breaks it in a very weak fashion. So this one is definitely worth keeping an eye on. You can see all of that huge volume that came in, and the volume has gone down to practically nothing as it is consolidating. So very little sellers are entering this stock. So there's a strong possibility we could be getting another move up in STCN. All right, guys. Well, that's all I have for this one. But if you have any questions or comments on any of these stocks, please don't hesitate to leave them down there in the comment section, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed the content, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you don't miss any future trading opportunities. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, and until next time, take care, everybody.